Hello everybody, it's the Historical Gamer once again, and today we are taking a first look at a game which is not yet out yet, so I guess this is actually more of a preview video than anything. The game is called Check Your Six. It is a tactical, turn-based air combat game, which takes place during World War II, and it is based on a board game of the same name. It's also very similar. I've played just a few minutes of the game. This is very much going to be a first impressions video as well, but it is very much like, to me, an older game like Octung Spitfire, and shares some similarities to a more cartoony game called The Few, in that you sort of have this sort of top-down view of air combat, and you do have 3 dimensions, but it's an interesting game in a lot of senses, and we'll kind of delve into that momentarily. Now, this game is being made by the Lordz Games Studios in Moonlight. It's being published by Slitherine, owners of Matrix Games, and it is coming to Steam as well as to Slytherine's website as well, where they sell their products. I think, let me actually double check here. The date that the game is coming out, again, this is a preview, so the game isn't available yet, but the game is going to be launched here very shortly, actually. It will launch on March 15th, so just a couple of days away. And yeah, with that being said, what I'm going to do here tonight is I'm going to go ahead and provide kind of a first look stream alongside of a preview, and I'm going to go ahead and jump in and play. I've played through the tutorial, which is very basic. There isn't much to it, in my opinion. It kind of tells you some of the interface sort of components and lets you shoot down an enemy aircraft, but that's about it. It's a very basic tutorial. Here you can see is the main menu of the game. You've got single player, multiplayer, options, hangar, game rules. Hangar is what it says. It provides sort of a historical flavor to the game. You can scroll through and see a bunch of different aircraft, those aircraft statistics, a little bit of history about the aircraft, and these are all aircraft that are, I believe, in the game. So you can see here the Hurricane, you've got the Heinkel 111, you've got the Blenheim, the Bf 109, the Battle 3, a wide range of aircraft, although certainly not all encompassing of World War II. We've already scrolled through all of the aircraft. You also have sort of the options here, pretty generic and basic options, audio, gameplay, nothing really worth calling out here. You've got a in-game manual if you want, so you can see all the different game rules of this particular game. You have a multiplayer option, which allows you to play opponents either via hot seat or via internet. I assume this is some sort of play-by-email setup. I'm not actually going to... Actually, maybe it's synchronous. I'm not quite sure. But I'm not actually going to go ahead and delve into that. Today, we're going to be playing the single-player game, and we're going to be playing the campaign. There doesn't appear to be a scenario option yet. I don't know if that's just because this is a pre-release version of the game, or whether that's actually coming. You have the tutorial, which I've already said is incredibly basic, and you have the campaign. Those seem to be the only 2 options within single player. If we move on here to the campaign, you can see here we've got an ally campaign completion percentage and an Axis completion percentage. And we'll go ahead and hit new campaign. So, jolly good show. Description: in the early evening of May 11, 1940, Flight Number 1, squadron based at Berry-au-Bac during the campaign in France, scrambled 5 Hurricanes to intercept Luftwaffe bombing formations headed for Reims. Led by Flight Lieutenant Johnny Walker, the Hurricanes maneuvered undetected above and behind the raiders, which consisted of Journer DO-17Zs of KG-76 and BF-110s of ZG-26. So this appears to be a historical scenario, which takes place in the early days of the campaign in France. It is at 1950 hours, so 7:15 in the evening, and you can see the objectives are to destroy at least 3 DO-17s and exit through the south edge with at least 8. Oh, the German objectives are exit through the south edge with at least 8 of their surviving bombers. The British objectives are to destroy at least 3. We've got, actually, okay, so the campaign gives us multiple options here. We can play This Jolly Good Show. We can play the Impossible Mission. As the Blitzkrieg rages on, the Allies realize that the Axis advance must be slowed. Okay, so it looks like there's actually a series of missions that we kind of play through quite a few, all sort of within the vein of the campaign. So before we jump into some of these later scenarios, we're going to go ahead and do the first one, which is sort of that hurricane mission, and we'll play that. Okay, so we'll go ahead and play. You can see here the single-player objectives for the Germans, single-player objectives for the British. It looks like we've got 5 Hurricanes, and the Germans have 4 BF-110s, or actually 8 BF-110s, and 6 Joiners. Alright, let's go ahead and jump in here. Okay, so here we've got a main map of the battlefield that we're going to be fighting over. You've got directions west, east, north, south, presumably, down here. Look like it lets me do much of that. We've got our hurricanes on the map. Looks like we've got sort of 2 hurricanes on the right, 2 on the left. I thought we have 5. Now the 5th is over here, it would appear. So we can deploy these aircraft how we see fit, I think. Yeah, so I can move these guys around. I guess we'll do that. Alright, so I'm assuming the enemy is going to be all up in this direction. But I'd like to keep my aircraft somewhat together. We'll have one of our fighters coming in from the right flank. The rest of these guys will all be advancing from the south. I assume the enemy's up here in the north. I'm not really sure. It doesn't really tell us. Which kind of is a problem. Like, if you don't know where the enemy is going to be, then how can you adequately deploy your forces? Because, you know, if my goal is to close with the enemy as quickly as possible, then I would be, you know, intuitively, I would just say, all right, let's go ahead and put everybody up here on the northern edge. Okay, so and you can control altitude. That's the other thing here. So I don't know if it, no. So I don't know how that controls camera angle. Yeah, I don't like that camera angle. Let's move that. Ah! There. You definitely can control altitude, and there's an option once you're in-game to control the altitude. I'm not sure how you control it during the setup. But you can control the altitude. So we'll go ahead and jump in with our setup complete. And where are the Germans? Yep, they're all in the northern edge of the map. So this is a heck of a lot of German aircraft all to our front. Port exit, safe return. Ooh, that'd be an interesting little... Okay, so we've got all of our aircraft on the map. They're all coming in at the same altitude. Enemy appears to be at the same altitude as us. I don't know why this aircraft is turned this way. But essentially, we're going to continue flying straight with all of our aircraft to close the range with the enemy. But the one thing here worth calling out is kind of, you see down here, this is sort of your stick, if you will, how you control where you're going. So if you see these little black circles represent items on the stick that I can pick. If it's red, you can't pick that. So... For example, if I'm going straight ahead here right now, if I want to turn, then I slide either over to the right or over to the left, and you can see where on the map this particular aircraft will end up based on the order given. Additionally, based on your movement, your speed, things like that, you are not always able to issue the full gambit of orders if you will. There's a pilot reaction phase, which I'm not really sure if that just gives control to the AI to kind of say, all right, in an emergency, I'm going to go ahead and do this. I'm not quite sure. But we'll see here. The Germans are all moving forward. And then we go ahead and we'll move our aircraft. You can see the one unit that I decided to start turning is turning. The other aircraft that I decided to continue moving all straight are all moving at the same sort of pace. And we're all looking at closing in on German aircraft here really quickly. I wish I could just like click it and drag where I wanted the unit to, where the air unit to go, but it doesn't look like it gives me that option. So you can see here the Hurricane 1 has banked and is now pointed at the enemy, but you can now see that it's not able to make a whole bunch of turning options, so it only has a few options. We'll go ahead and turn it over a little bit. It's going to bank, kind of swivel over to the right a little bit to kind of close in with these guys. We'll also do the same for these aircraft. So they must be moving too quickly or something to that effect to be able to turn quickly at this point. So I'm actually going to stack up, or start stacking up a little bit to the right of the map with those three aircraft. And with these aircraft, we're going to kind of stack up a little bit more toward the left. Let's see here. There's also a sun icon, which I assume means you can use tactics to like come out of the sun at the enemy. I'm not intelligent enough to do that yet. All right, so those guys are all turning, and for whatever reason, one of my aircraft I don't have control over. Okay. Alright, so now I have control of him. We'll shift him over this way. Again, he just kind of pivots a little bit. He's not going to completely change his course. And now this other aircraft over here now actually has a bead on this BF-110 to its front. It can actually fire, so we'll go ahead and click on it. That's represented by this little target arrow. We click on the target we want to shoot at. We can't target one of them, but we can target the other. We got a 17% chance of actually hitting the enemy target, and we can go ahead and see what happens here. So we'll see it zooms in a little bit, pivots, and we shoot. You see sort of the results up here. We miss, the enemy shoots back, they miss. All right, so we're going to go ahead and continue sort of pivoting over to the left, this aircraft. And then we'll have all the Germans kind of continue their advance. All right, we'll lose a little bit of speed to kind of pivot a bit as well. Head on with the enemy. We've now got a 50% chance, and actually these Germans are at multiple different altitudes. If we zoom in here, we can see they're in a bit of a formation. Some high, some low. The aircraft we're trying to engage is at our altitude. So a head-on pass means that it's going to be more difficult to hit the enemy than if we were coming in behind at the same speed. You can see it did look like we got a little bit of damage in on the enemy. We didn't hit anything in particular, but it did say something about like an elevator damage. Should probably throttle back a bit. That would be the smart thing. Slow down, prepare to turn, because I'm going to need to turn and pursue these guys. You can see here the one German aircraft has kind of started to turn. Look, it gives us a little icon, but I can't drag over to see what that means. I don't know if... Looks like he's... I don't know, he's veering off for whatever reason. So I don't want to turn my back to all these other aircraft in front of us, so I think we just kind of continue moving this guy forward. We'll kind of shoot our way through the formation as we go. All right, so 42% chance of a hit here. We'll probably miss again. Yep. Head-to-head strike, roll, blah, blah, blah. Miss. The enemy's missing as well. That's good. Although they're going to be kind of coming at us with a whale of gunfire. All right. Turn. Try and get behind the main formation with that fighter on the left. So again, they're all kind of progressing north to south. Okay. Well, maybe we'll get like an angle shot on one of these guys. %17 chance the other guys aren't at our altitude. The interesting thing is altitude really wasn't modeled in the tutorial. It really didn't, at least unless I missed it, didn't really give a good sense of managing your altitude, which is definitely represented by these dots and by the fact that the enemy comes in on multiple formations. So it's certainly in the game, but it's not intuitive to me as far as like increasing or decreasing altitude. So that's pull back on the stick. I can rapidly... Okay, so I can... Basically, it's as simple as over here on the right, I can drag up or down if I want to change my altitude or my speed. So altitude is here, speed is here. If I want to dive down a bit, I can do that. So, for example, these guys are below us. We can go ahead and choose to lower our altitude, kind of dive in on them. And I guess let's see how that works. To slow down a bit. You can see here we dove down. Didn't look like it gave us a combat tactic, but that was easy enough. Yep, my objectives are to destroy the BF-110 or the DO-17s, not to destroy the enemy BF-110s. I guess my logic here to this point has been the 110s are more of a danger to us in terms of doing damage. It looks like actually one of our Hurricanes just suffered some damage. And these little red hexes, by the way, represent if you have damage that you've suffered. So we're at altitude 5. These guys are just slightly below us at altitude 4. I'm assuming I can dive down on him. Actually, probably shouldn't be. I think I'm skipping all of my units by hitting the end turn. In the tutorial, it felt like you had hit end turn every time you wanted a unit to move its orders. But I'm not. I think you actually need to do that differently. So we'll slow down a bit. Ending speed 0. Probably a bad idea, right? Add a little bit more power, start to turn. Yeah. So I've been playing this totally wrong. Good to know. Alright. So I haven't been issuing any orders because I've been just ending turns after selecting one. Are we on fire? Like we kind of are smoking. Alright. Anyway, it's intuitive enough to speed up. So yeah, we may have to refight this scenario. They can't turn. I need a little bit more speed. Can't. It doesn't look like I can speed up. Alright, so he's in range at least. So we'll go ahead and try and... Thank you very much for the follow, Real Boss. Alright, so let's go ahead and Canaan. Alright, so stumbling my way through this, it's intuitive enough to pick up, but I think I may have already lost the battle because I didn't do a good enough job of issuing orders to my aircraft before it was too late. So there's also an option to follow aircraft, so I can declare, turn, and maneuver. We can go ahead and climb, dive, turn, or whatever. So I think this is trying to get rid of this guy off our tail, which is declare phase, so that's fine. So we'll continue the turn. Him. You are going to... Ow! Turn as quickly as you can to try and pursue. It's probably too late. All of you guys. Turn and pursue. So now that we got that speed back, you can see we have... I increased speed on pretty much all my aircraft last turn. And because we have increased speed, we now have increased maneuverability. So with that increase in maneuverability, we can now turn, whereas before we really couldn't. Alright, so we just destroyed our first enemy aircraft, BF-110C's airframe. Failed. It failed some sort of, almost like a morale check, but in terms of the aircraft surviving. And thank you very much for the subscription there, Kushin. Let's see here. So we'll have to continue turning with them. Everybody's just going to kind of continue turning, I think, banking and kind of coming around. Let's try and... Can we increase anybody's speed? No, I don't think if we're turning we can increase speed. So, yeah, it doesn't look like it lets us do that. So we're just going to have to end that turn. Climb check failed. Out of control. This hurricane's out of control. And this hurricane is destroyed. It failed its aircraft check as well. So we may have been maneuvering with the aircraft that was not in good enough shape to be maneuvering. Alright, let's see here. These are all 110s, so these are all trying to dogfight us. That guy's on fire, so I don't really want to do anything with him. Got 2 aircraft he can shoot at. The DO-17's at longer range, but it is the target. Go ahead and shoot at him. This guy can shoot at the 110 over here, just one target. So only 2 of our aircraft can shoot, so we'll see how this all plays out. Only a 20% chance of hitting that DO-17. It failed, obviously. And the other attempt to hit the BF-110 failed. The enemy attacks as well, and they're missing everything so far. Alright, so we'll continue moving this hurricane this way. See if we can speed him up a bit to try and catch up. As we're going to go ahead and turn back toward the objective. Can't gain any speed, however. Try and chase these guys. We'll see. Oh no, our other hurricane's out of control. So the Germans are probably almost certainly going to get off the map without dying. So we've lost one aircraft, and one aircraft's out of control. And speed you up a little bit. We can. We got a 58 chance of hitting him. The other hurricane's got 17% chance of hitting the other target. So we'll see how this works out. 50% chance. Hits it, but no damage done. Doesn't hit anything damaging. And the other hurricane fired at the 110, but didn't do any damage. It actually missed. Hurricane Veteran +2, do you want to make a roll check for weapons jam? Oh, shoot, out of ammo. So ammunition is definitely represented here. So we're out of ammo. Oh, God. Out of ammo, out of control, whatever. Aircraft confusion. I think I'm going to need to replay this scenario. It's been fun, but I haven't had any clue what I'm doing. And, yeah. Yikes. Alright. Well, do we fight this thing out with No, let's just restart the scenario. Okay, everybody, we're going to restart. Sorry to do this, but now that I've got a better sense of what I'm doing, I think it makes more sense. Additionally, I want to set my aircraft up a little bit differently. I want to group them together. So hopefully we can have sort of a substantial amount of firepower that we can all kind of group at the enemy. Why would I have aircraft pointed away from the enemy? I'm actually going to formation fly these guys in. I'm curious if formation flying is a smart tactic or not. I don't know if it is. If we go back here to the setup menu here, we're going to have these guys come in. I guess it could potentially cause some issues with maneuverability. I don't know if you can collide with other aircraft, but we've got kind of a formation of 4, and then we'll have 1 on the wing. So there's our 5 aircraft, all coming in, all at the same altitude. Doesn't look like it lets us adjust altitude at the start. So we'll go ahead and start here, and you can see here, here's the enemy formation coming in. I'm going to go ahead and have this guy lower his altitude just slightly. We'll have the rear guy here lower his altitude by 1. So we're kind of coming in on a staggered altitude ourselves. We're going to go ahead and speed some of these guys up. Get a little bit more power going here. So we can make sure that we don't come in too slow and thus hurt our maneuverability. Because we don't have enough power, I think. Those are orders to everybody. So you can see here the German aircraft coming in. Our aircraft going out. See, this guy dropped altitude, or just, yeah. So we're not going to keep diving. We'll kind of... Apparently I don't have the option to stop pulling out. Yeah. He's at 4, we're at 4, so we're actually coming in at the same altitude. All the Germans. Should have a couple of these guys in range here in a moment. These guys are all much lower. So it's good that we're coming in high, I assume. At least that's sort of the stereotypical, you know, tactic, is you want to come in high. Slow down a little bit. All these guys flying forward. This guy's, I guess, one of the commanders or whatever, because the formation... I don't know. I'm not sure how that works. Apparently we're issuing orders to on separate planes. 72% chance of hit on a front-on attack here on this DO-17. I'll take that roll. I will fire. You know, all these other guys also have odds of hitting. Only 17% for him, but we'll take it. We've got 2 aircraft that can shoot, and they're going to shoot at the same DO-17. So he hit the engine of the DO-17. The other one missed. So we did some damage to the enemy engine. You can see here their forward gunners are shooting at us. And I think we're just going to have him fly through the formation, I think. These guys lose a little bit of altitude, start to turn. A little bit of altitude. Have them all drop down 1, because I think the enemy's mostly below us, so we're coming in down from the top. Is usually a good air tactic, diving down from above to attack the enemy. Let's see how that works out in this game. Okay, so there's our fighters all kind of maneuvering themselves. Alright, gonna start turning. I think I just flew straight through him, so I don't know if there's a collision factor. He's got another 72% chance of hitting an enemy. 8. I'm not going to waste the ammunition on that percent chance. 83% chance on this target. That's a pretty darn good likelihood of hitting. All 8s. So 2 guys were shooting with some good odds, 72 and 80. And when he hit, the gun crews hit. No particular part of the plane is hit. And this guy hits the aircraft but doesn't do any damage. So these enemy aircraft are taking some hits, but we're not hitting them fatally. Okay. So the German gunners are returning fire, mostly missing. I haven't seen any hits unless I missed one. That one did hit the Hurricane, but didn't hit anything in particular. Right. So you're flying this way. Let's go ahead and get you to turn around on it. I'm hoping they advance so I'm right behind them. We'll see how that works out. Okay, so we're breaking some of these guys in tandem. Hard turns here for a lot of these guys. Mostly in formation. We'll see how... Okay, so the Germans do advance. That's good for us. Kind of keep our orders. They'll make their turns. Make his turn come in down below. 100% chance of hitting this DO-17. Nice. These guys... like a 42% chance, but again, remember, we've got limited ammunition to play with. Need to be mindful of it. Hold off on shooting you. You don't have anything better than a 70% chance. Actually, this is 42 here. The other guy could finish off this other aircraft, so we'll actually do that. He's got better odds, too. Okay, so we'll see how all this shooting goes. 100% chance here. Hits the airframe. Nothing in particular, but he does hit a gun crew. Possible ordnance explosion. Misses. Darn. And engine. Solid. See how the German fighters respond. Again, hitting us. Starting a fire in one of our Hurricanes, and our pilot blacked out, so that's probably a loss of at least one aircraft. Rationalists, I don't know if there are other similar games. I guess the one that kind of feels similar to me is Achtung Spitfire. But I don't know if you can get it anywhere. Problems. Heavy fire. Debris. Fuel tank explosion. Alright, well that guy blew up. He's going down. It's going to tail him. Kind of breaks off our movement group. Slow down a little bit, too. Alright, meanwhile, you're going to turn... Stay with these guys. We're all going to turn to stay with these DOs. I think, what do we just need to sink 3 of them? Or sink. Just need to shoot down 3 of them. Alright. See how this all works out. Worried I'm going to overstrip this DO-17. And slow down a bit. Alright, there you go. We're tailing him and we've matched his speed. BF-110's coming in behind us on one of these guys. Airframe fire, pilot no longer black. Alright. 97% chance you're going to hit. That's great. Damn. Keep up with any of these guys. I don't want to waste ammo shooting at targets that are concerned. Shoot at him, because we can still try and hit him. Alright, so we'll just have 2 guys shooting this round. He hit it, but no damage. Nothing in particular. Same for this guy. Although it did start a fire. So let's see what the enemy does here if they get any more of our hurricanes. Or more badly damage the one that's already been hit and is smoking. So many damn aircraft in this fight. Miss. Miss. Come on, keep up the misses. There you go. Following him. Alright, let's gain some speed now. Try and catch up with these guys. Gain some speed there. Increase your speed, increase your throttle. Just gonna have everybody increase their throttle back here to try and catch up. Frame fire. Yeah! Another one going down. Alright. Engine fire for a hurricane. No! Down she goes. Alright, so we've shot down 2 enemies. We've lost one of our own. Oil on windscreen. Debris. Gun sight destroyed. Possible ordnance explosion. Possible blackout. I think I just collided with a bad guy. Alright, so you're going to hit him. Damn, where'd all these EOs go? They're way out ahead of us, and we're just kind of dogfighting here with the 110s. At least maybe I can do some damage to this guy. And have everybody shoot at him, pretty much. Nothing in particular. Damn thing's a bullet magnet. What is it, a B-17? Okay. We just need one more of the frickin'... I think we just need one more. I think it's 3. Rudder jam. Possible ordnance. Great. Alright, let's speed up a little bit. Still have ammo on him? It looks like it. Speed up, everybody. Get away from these German fighters. Well, it looks like we can only control a handful of our... Pilot no longer blacked out, which is good. Airframe check failed. Destroyed. Alright, so the BF-110 is going down, or at least one of the BF-110s. Still can't believe those Journers are hanging in there. Oh shoot, I increased altitude. I didn't mean to do that. I meant to increase speed. Damn it. I wasn't paying attention. Out of control. Oil on windscreen. Good to know we're climbing. Alright, so... You need to speed up, dude. He's the only one shooting. Do some damage to the damn thing. Alright, so if we actually dive, we can pick up speed. So that's interesting. So if I want to dive back down those 2 hexes that I just climbed, it actually gives me the ability to pick up quite a bit of speed by doing that. So we've got a couple of planes that are just out of control, or oil on windscreen, no real control. Some of these German fighters are confused and turning about in all sorts of which way directions. Oil cleared. I don't know if that's because I dove or not. Speed up. One of our aircraft can shoot. Man, our gunners suck. Can these journers really outrun us? Oh no, that one just took a hit to the airframe. Probably gonna have might lose another aircraft there. That solid hit on the airframe. Speed up a little bit more. See if we can close the distance on this damn thing. Man, I didn't keep up with these damn things well enough. Yep, still not in range. Either that or that one's out of ammo. I'm not sure. The few, the proud, the fewer. Ugh. Alright. Looks like we can't speed up anymore. What are their altitude? Altitude 4. We're at altitude. It'd be real great if that fleeing aircraft just failed some sort of aircraft check and crashed. It's gotten hit by enough fire for that to be a plausible outcome. You'd think the Hurricane would be able to catch the DO-17. I don't know if that's true anymore. Seems like the head-on pass was our best chance to just isolate on some and destroy some. Four. Moving at speed 3. What are we moving at? Speed 4. Still have ammo. Can't accelerate. Lose speed if I climb. Alright, well. Gotta be close to the edge of the map. Chase can't go on forever. We're only gonna gain 1 hex on him each time. Hoping to close the distance and get back in gun range. Like we just barely got back in gun range. We've got a 50% chance of a hit. And we missed. Great. Now we're probably... That thing's gotta be running low on ammo. They're all gonna shoot at the one Hurricane. It's smoking and doomed. There, up, you got hit on the engine. That guy's dead. That one just blew up. Or just about. Alright, so continue to close to probably far back. I wish there was more interesting sound effect. Alright, so closing 1 more hex, closing the range. Still only 50% chance of a hit. We failed last time, so we should hit this time, right? But apparently we can do no more damage to this damn thing. They'll just eat bullets and get no damage. All right, they're trying to chase us now. I wonder if the BF-110, I don't think it's faster than this. I think it is. You need to close. You've got to be really low on ammo. Yes, we hit his engine. That's got to do something, right? Yeah, we got him. Down he goes. Victory! At what cost? At what cost? Destroy at least 3 DO-17s. We did that. Jolly good show, mate. Okay. So we won the battle. Looks like it's represented by this sort of this 3 out of 3 icon here. It tells us that we successfully did it. Now, we could fight as the Germans and try and escape with at least 7 DO-17s. Or we could move on in the British campaign. If we go back here to the campaign tab, we can see Allied campaign completion up to 5%, Axis completion 0%. So again, you can play each battle, it seems, from both sides, which represents strongly that the game, you know, may do well when it comes to multiplayer. And it's got how many different missions? Got Jolly Good Show. Well, presumably one battle means you've got about 20 scenarios to play through. Leaning forward into France. I'm curious if this will be modeled in the same way that Field of Glory is, where they'll just kind of keep adding on additional battle packs. One thing, obviously, is there's no American forces in the game, although they have quite a wide variety of British aircraft. Not quite as wide a variety of German aircraft as I would hope, but the British have quite a few. If we go to the hangar here, you can see we've got the Ju-88, we've got the Spitfire, we've got the Do-17, the CR-42, which is an Italian aircraft, the Hurricane 1, the Heinkel 111, Blenheim IF, 109, Battle 3, BF-110, Stuka, Blenheim 4, and then the Italian medium bomber, the BR-20, the Defiant. Then we're right back around in our menu of aircraft. With that being said, guys, I'm going to go ahead and cut this video off here. This was obviously taken from a live stream from the other day. This is a sneak peek of the upcoming Check Your 6 tactical air combat game, which is coming out in just a few days on March 15th by Matrix and Slitherine Games, made by the Lordz Games Studios. And is it Moonlight? Or there's another studio on the label. We'll probably play a little bit more of this channel. This was a little bit longer of a video, but let me know your thoughts, and if you'd like to see more of this on the channel. This was a very raw Let's Play. It was very much a first impressions video, so the intent was to figure out how easy the game was to pick up and play, and I think it did pretty well there. I mean, yes, I had played the tutorial. Doesn't teach you much. I think the tutorial needs to do more, but overall, I think a game you can easily pick up and play and figure things out pretty quickly, as I did. You know, there was some struggling around altitude, around speed, but intuitively I was able to pick that up after maybe a minute or two and a little bit of stumbling around. May not have made for the best viewing, but certainly easy enough to comprehend. And with that being said, guys, I'm going to go ahead and cut this video off here, and until next time, this is the Historical Gamer saying thank you for watching, and I'm out.